everyone, welcome back to my channel. I really hope that you guys are doing better than I am today. And today we're going to talk about how I personally edit and shoot my own Etsy product photography. I was on the fence about making this video because I didn't think it would be particularly interesting to everyone, and I talked about it to a friend of mine who is an incredible photographer, and I kind of figured she knew exactly what I was doing because she's kind of the one that's taught me everything about Photoshop, and she actually encouraged me to make this video because she likes my style, which I thought was very flattering. Yeah, we're just gonna jump into it. So I thought I would cover some of the basic details in this intro. So before we jump into it, I thought I would talk about the camera that I'm shooting on, which is the Canon EOS M3. This is a mirrorless camera, and it is not the newest by any means. I think they're on like the EOS 6, but I still really like this camera. I am using the kit lens, which is, can't see it from here, I think it's the 18 to 15mm. To be quite honest, for most of my pictures, because of my bad eyesight, I do leave it on autofocus. Sometimes I'll play with it a little bit, but especially if the autofocus is acting funny that day. It does have a flip out screen, so that's sort of how I like to get some of my lower shots because my back hurts and I don't like bending. For lighting, I use the Limo Studio lighting kit. It's an umbrella kit stand. I love it. I definitely suggest it to anyone that's looking to upgrade their lighting but don't want to invest a good chunk of money into it. For my backdrop, I'll leave the link up here and in the description box below, but I did design it myself and it was a really quick and easy project and I love it. It's been going for 6 months. No, that doesn't sound right. It's been going for a good few months now and I love it. I think it's great. And like I mentioned before, I edit on Photoshop Elements 15. I also use that to design my thumbnails. If you guys want to know how I do anything with like video editing, I guess, then let me know in the comments down below, or if you have any more questions, I'll see you guys after. I don't know, I've never used this program for screen record, so I'm really hoping that this goes well. So as you can see, my desktop is a complete mess, and I'm sorry. But I am going into Photoshop Elements 15, and while that opens, that normally never opens that fast. Wow, I was actually going to talk to you guys while that happened. So I just got finished taking some product pictures that you can see over here in this folder. We're not editing all of these by any means because that would take forever, and I just wanted to show you the general style that I do. I will link the video to how I made my backdrop up in the corner and in the description box below. And ooh, go here for editing options. No thank you. And now we're just going to, okay, I kind of like this one. So oh, we have options. I think I'm gonna go with this. I think this one looks sort of cleaner since you don't have as much of the background. So the doubles of the pictures are because my camera takes or saves a raw photo and a JPEG of the same photo every time I take a picture. It takes up more memory, but I don't really mind it too much. So I'm using a raw photo, which is kind of the main point of me having the camera that I do. I do tend to make my pictures more on the cool tone, and I bump up the purple tint. Not like all the way, we're not going crazy with it though, that's kind of like trippy looking. But because my pick colors are purple and gray, I do like to sort of have that hue in there. Now, as for all of these settings, I tend to do almost the same thing every time, or the same general thing. I don't go by these numbers, I just use the scroller. So I'll adjust the exposure as the picture needs, but I almost always lower the contrast. And I'm gonna lower the highlights. Lighten the shadows, brighten the whites, and then this I'm just gonna scroll. I really just like to keep my, I like that. I like to keep the pictures pretty simple, and that's sort of why we're not editing all of these today, because you'll kind of just see that I do the same thing over and over. And then I like to have it very vibrant and a fairly high saturation. Okay. And then if it doesn't look right to me, I'll just adjust as it goes, but I think this kind of looks pretty. Maybe that looks nice. I like to have the navigator open while I'm going. I don't use too many of these actions, so I like to just keep it over to the navigator, and so I'm going to pull up a second layer, and from here, this is normally where I just sort of fix any mistakes in the picture that don't need to be there. Like if it's a soap picture and there's like a little soap crumb off in the background, or if it's a yarn picture and there's like a piece of thread sticking out for no reason, I'll just sort of repair that. But I'm not seeing anything. But look at this yarn. This yarn is just glorious. Oh, and I didn't mention this before, but this is not actually in the shop yet. So it will be Friday, but I'm actually like really editing some product pictures to put in the shop. I'm not like going through and showing a planned edit. I should have shown you a before and after of that, but we can compare that in a few minutes. Normally I do edit my product photos on my laptop, but for the sake of recording, I was recording on my desktop. The only difference is it's the same program and everything, but on my laptop I have a special brush that I use for my watermark, and I don't have that on this computer. So aside from that, this is going to be the same thing, but we're just going to, okay, don't want that, gosh. We're going to pull up my PNG. Then this is how I used to edit all of my pictures before I made the brush. So if you don't have a brush and you don't know how to make one, I don't feel qualified to make a tutorial on that. I had to be taught via text message. Thank you, Paige. I love my brush. And you have a PNG of your logo. Open that in Photoshop. It'll pull you up to a new window. Go over to your photo bin, take it to the, make sure you're in view of the picture that you're editing, and I just drag my PNG over. Where's a good spot? Oh, that looks good. Okay, so we've got the nice contrast. And just sort of place it. I like to play with the opacity. Normally, if I'm doing it like this, I just almost always have it set to 50%. I think it looks prettier, honestly. And the good thing about using a PNG instead of a brush is that you can move it and not like have to erase and undo things. I think I like it here because it's not too close to the item. Whereas if you have a brush of your logo and not the PNG, well, you probably have the PNG, but if you have a brush of your logo, then you could make it all one color, and I think that looks really pretty. Do I have an example to show you? I'd like to show you. So you can see that was where we're working. Oh, here we go. This was the brush I'm talking about for anyone that's been confused this entire time, because I did not explain it very well. I sampled a color from the bar of soap itself and just stamped it where I wanted it, and that was just one step. I think if I didn't want it there, I would have had to erase it, etc., etc., etc. But either way, that is my super complicated way to explain exactly how I edit my pictures. I don't like to do a lot to them. I spend more time setting up the picture and making sure that everything looks good, but even my setup is very simple. I do have a video on my backdrop. As far as props go, I literally only use a dark wicker basket and a small swatch of fabric. I think I bought a yard of this white lace last year, and it's just all I use. I don't use it for anything else other than for pretty pictures. We might as well just like edit a few more pictures together. Alright guys, I'm getting ready to head off. I feel like I got a few pictures edited for my own sake and to give you guys a better idea of how I tend to edit through my pictures. I'm sorry that this wasn't more detailed, but since this was more based off of my style and how I personally like to edit my pictures, it was actually a little harder to structure than I realized it would be. I probably should have used my laptop, and I'm sorry about that, but other than the watermark, I think that's the only thing it did affect. I do like to keep my pictures pretty simple and just make them nice and pretty. I am getting ready to head out to the gym, so I need to edit this video real quick. Welcome back, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope it was a little helpful. I feel like we're a little more skewed than we were before. Okay, that's fine. Like I said, I really hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you found it helpful. I will see you guys next time. Please make sure to like and subscribe and leave comments down below. I'm like really out of it and this dog is not helping me, so bye. Vicious pit bulls. I'm telling you guys, so vicious. You're really weird.